We should be live. We'll see. Let's check all the appropriate locales to make sure that we are indeed live. And if we're not, I can do something about it. That's why I'm going early, actually, is to work out any of these technical issues that I sometimes run into right before we go live. So hopefully it's being beamed through the internet waves in the appropriate places. It looks like YouTube is firing on all cylinders. It looks like Vimeo is firing on all cylinders. And I've got one more place to check, and that is the Tony's Acoustic Challenge Facebook page. And it looks like that one is... that's an old one. Whoops. Got to make sure it's actually up to date here. Let's see. Doodly boop, doodly boop. There it is. Awesome. Well, it looks like it's live in all the appropriate places, which makes me super, super happy and excited. I'm going to go live officially at 11 a.m. here Mountain Time, and I'm going to kick off the guitar party number 77. But I'm taking this time just to do an Ask Me Anything kind of a thing, just a little warm-up so you can get settled, get your coffee, get your water, your favorite slippers, pretzel, maybe hot pretzel, I don't know. Just want you to get comfortable before the live guitar party where I'm going to be talking about 5 ways to keep your guitar routine on track through the holidays. The most notorious time when habits become derailed is the holidays. And I want to share some things with you that I've been reading about and experiencing myself that have really helped me keep my own guitar routine on track and that are scientifically proven to actually help keep your routine on track. We'll get to that. We'll kick that off right around 11. First, I want to go ahead and just say hi to some folks that are tuning in. It looks like people can hear okay, and that's always great news for me. Because, well, it just makes me know that everything's working. Speaking of coffee, I've got a mug with my own picture on it. Merry Christmas. I saw that there was somebody said Merry Christmas. I can't find. Oh, Matthew. Merry Christmas. I've got the appropriate mug here. I'm going to take a sip of coffee out of that. Piping hot and delicious. Then I'll go over to my other coffee mug and take a sip out of that. Piping hot and delicious. Absolutely love it. Let me say hi to some folks. I want to say hi to Seth S. I'm doing fantastic, Seth. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing awesome as well. Hello to Rasmus. Hello to Joel and Noel. That's cool. Joel and Noel. I like that. Noel says hi from Chicago. Well, hi right back to you from Bozeman, Montana. I haven't heard too much about Chicago getting any winter weather at the moment. Bozeman hasn't really had a major winter weather event yet. But I talk to my son on a frequent basis over in Chicago, and he said it's been pretty warm and pretty moderate. So hopefully that changes because, winter, you got the Christmas Wonderland holiday feel that needs to happen. So hopefully that's the case. Let's see. I want to say hi to some folks over here. Hello to Vic. Hello to Cross. Hello to Wolfgang. Hello to Alec, Bruce H, Puppy Doc. And there was just a quick little question here from, I believe it was Wolfgang, about a banjo course, asking if I ever taught, oh, no, this is from Marty. Hey, Tony, will you ever do a banjo class? Probably not banjo proper, since Tony's Acoustic Challenge is really focused on the guitar. However, within Tony's Acoustic Challenge, there is a banjo techniques for guitar class. Which I teach. I think it's about 6 sections long. And the cool thing is this. Check this out. The way that I teach the banjo for guitar class within Tony's Acoustic Challenge is done so on a guitar tuned to open G. And I use the same techniques that I would on a straight-ahead banjo. Forward roll, backward roll, alternating thumb roll, and even some rhythmic techniques as well. So you can actually take the information from that banjo for guitar class and move it directly to a banjo. There's some subtle modifications, of course, because banjo is a 5-string instrument, and you have that drone string, that shorter 5th string on the top. But a lot of what I teach in that banjo class can carry directly over to a lot of what I teach in the banjo for guitar class can carry over directly to banjo proper, which is pretty cool and a fun way to experiment as well. So technically, yes, I can say I do teach a banjo class, but it's definitely for guitarists. Good question, Marty. Thank you for that. Wolfgang says, I cannot get past the ear training quiz, referring to Fretboard Wizard, which is actually going on right now within Tony's Acoustic Challenge. And the ear training, so there's a lot of frustration sometimes that can get built up around ear training. And one of the little pieces of advice that I'll offer is that ear training is called ear training for a reason, in that we're trying to train our ear to hear things. That being the case, let me offer some suggestions on working through it and how you can actually kind of leverage your experience with the quiz, whether you pass or fail, to actually learn something from it. With the quiz, so ear training, again, it's called ear training for a reason. If it was a switch, it'd be awesome, and everybody would have these wonderful golden ears that they could hear a key and pick out the chords immediately. That's not the case, because we have to train our ear to hear it. So with the quiz, if you're taking that quiz and you're feeling like, man, this is like my third round and I just can't get anything right, it starts to feel like a lot, and it starts to feel like you say these things like, I'll never get it. I can't do this. That's not true. I want you to actually take a step back and think of what you can actually learn from what's in front of you. So you get the wrong answer 5 times in a row, and it's like, oh my gosh, what is the deal? Look at the right answer, because on that quiz, if you input a wrong answer, it'll actually give you the correct answer. And what I want you to do is then listen to that song again, but use the right answer. And see what you notice from what you had initially thought, which was the wrong answer, versus what is the right answer. And see if you can start training your ear in that way. It's kind of like a reverse engineering, knowing the answer, but then backing up into the song and saying, okay, this is the right answer. Why is it the right answer? And see if you can start to pick up on some of the nuances. It's a nice little trick that I know I certainly used when I was first developing ear training, and still continuously use when I'm developing my ear. You know, it's not like downloadable ear skills. You know, you have to train, and you have to continue to work at it. So I hope that helps, Wolfgang. That's a good question, and certainly a point of it could be a point of frustration for a lot of people, because I think the initial notion is we want to pick it up, and we want to pick it up quick, and sometimes that's just not the case, but that's totally okay as well. Just take those right answers and try and reverse engineer the feeling or the nuances, as I mentioned before. Awesome stuff. I'm going to head over to the YouTube here and say hi to some folks that just popped in. Stephanie G, Kamal, Tim, Allie, Matthew D, Tina A, Cleet A, who has a Buffalo Sabres logo as the avatar. Hopefully they have a okay season this year. They always seem to have a good month, and then they can't put together a full season. But, you know, this is coming from a Hawks fan who I'm looking forward to a very bleak couple of seasons because we're rebuilding. Anyways, enough hockey talk. Speaking of hockey, Jackson from Vancouver, Canada, saying hello. Stephanie G, it's her birthday today, so, well, happy birthday, Stephanie. I did see a question on here about a guitar, which was pretty awesome. Brian B asks this. I have a question. Is an Adirondack top better for strummers? What a great question. So the question, an Adirondack top, is it better for strummers? I don't know if that's the right way to approach the choice between Adirondack versus regular Sitka. I think a better question, and I'm not saying that's a bad question, but I think a question that will result in a better answer is, how heavy-handed of a player are you? At least this is what I've gathered from my experience, because a Sitka spruce generally can react to a lighter touch and freely give sound, freely give volume, freely give tone. And a lot goes into this. It's really tough to attribute just sonic characteristics simply to topwood species. There's a lot that goes into it with bracing, etc. So I'm generalizing a lot here. I know I'm not getting into the absolute minutia, but generally speaking, Sitka spruce can handle a lighter touch. It can handle somebody that maybe strums with a lighter pick better or finger picks delicately, whereas Adirondack spruce has a ton of headroom, meaning it has a ton of space to freely offer sound, and it really seems to never tire. Sitka spruce, it seems like you can push to a certain extent, and it's it's about as loud as it's going to get. Whereas Adirondack spruce seems to continually offer volume, which is pretty amazing. So if you find yourself being a heavier-handed player, maybe using a thicker pick, maybe picking with finger picks, maybe really digging in when you finger pick, maybe an Adirondack spruce top is a better choice simply because it will react to that heavier picking style. So I hope that helps, Brian. That's a really excellent question, and one that that I think is can certainly be interpreted many different ways by many different people. And I would always recommend asking, whomever's working at your local guitar shop what their opinion is, because all these experiences, as you're shopping and trying to figure out what works for you, the best thing to do is to gather various people's opinions based on their experience, and then you can kind of triangulate what may work for you, and then of course try out the guitar in person. That's always the best, because you actually get that true tactile and sonic feedback right there. I want to pop back over here and grab maybe a couple more questions. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be going on live. Well, I'm on live right now, but I'll be digging into the Guitar Party number 77 at 11 a.m. Here. So in just about 15 minutes, where we'll be talking about 5 ways to keep your guitar routine on track through the holidays. I figured it's the first week of December. There's probably a lot of maybe events, maybe they're Zoom calls, maybe they're just general family things that are going on that could cause some interruption for your guitar routine. So I want to share some things that I've discovered that worked for me and that actually have some science backing to them. I'm really excited to share it with you. I think it'll make a big difference in how maybe this December goes for you versus maybe even last December, or maybe even last month for that matter. Let's see. Let's see. Happy Guitar Day from Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin, says Robert S. Suzanne C. says, good morning from New Zealand. First time I've gotten the timing right to listen on live. Well, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, Suzanne, and thank you for tuning in all the way from New Zealand. So cool. Dee Dee is tuning in. Good morning from sunny but chilly Southern California. Peter Nicholson is tuning in from the UK. Dale is tuning in from Nashville. We got Roger from Albuquerque. Greg from Cape Cod. Wow, all sorts of folks. Jim C. is from Buffalo, and then that NZ, that's New Zealand. Cool. Mark was making a comment about my backup mug. Yes, indeed. For those who are maybe just tuning in, I've got the main mug, which is my Christmas mug, which was a gift from an Acoustic Tuesday viewer. I've gotten quite a few mugs, and I think this one's from Carol M., but I'm not 100% sure. It could be from somebody else, and I don't want to misattribute it. But then I've got the backup tanker. It's like, you see those pickup trucks with the gas tanks on the back. It's kind of how I drink my coffee. I got the mug and then the gas tank on the back, which is the backup mug. Let's see. There's so many questions coming in. I kind of dig this Ask Me Anything kind of freeform thing that we do at the beginning here. Texas Newfies tuning in from Montgomery, Texas. Adam James is tuning in from Taipei. That's so cool. We're all over the globe today. This is outstanding. Well, hey, happy December to everyone. It's only December 2nd, but I also can't believe it's December. It's been quite the insane year. So pretty crazy. Don and Joe from Helena, hello to you. Scott S from Minnesota, good morning to you. Good late morning to you. Pat asks me what I think of Harley Benton guitars. I've never had the chance to play one. I've never had one in my hands, so I can't really comment accurately. I've heard of them, heard the name, just haven't had a chance to play them. Great question, Pat. I am always open to hearing those new guitar names and kind of putting them on my mental list of, I got to try that one of these days. Somebody made a comment about the mic in front of me. And that is, this is a Ear Trumpet Labs. I believe they're either in Washington or Oregon. They're on the West Coast, Northwest Coast. Ear Trumpet Labs. This is the Edwina, Edwina, small diaphragm condenser. Great microphone. Really a huge fan. Hopefully it's sounding okay, but it sounds really good with guitar as well. Just to give you a taste, I don't know, this is maybe coming through your computer speakers, so it might not be the best sound, but it's a good sounding mic. sounding mic, I think anyway. It might, I don't know how that came across, but you kind of see these Ear Trumpet Labs mics pop up all over the place. The first time I saw one was Whitney and I went to, where did we go? We went to Boise to the Egyptian Theater to see the Milk Carton Kids, and opening up for the Milk Carton Kids was Caitlin Canty. It's the first time I had ever seen these mics, and I thought to myself, well, those look incredible. And then I had a chance to try a couple out, and I thought they actually sound as good as they look. So that's why it's there. Vic asked if that's a new Taylor guitar. No, it's not. It's actually not a new Taylor guitar. This is one that was sent to me for review when they first released the Grand Pacific models, and they sent me a mahogany one and a rosewood one. I've been just been holding them in my clutches because I really enjoy them. Both of the guitars do a very good job of accentuating the back and side woods. I know that sounds weird, but the mahogany one sounds nice and warm and kind of woody. The rosewood one is very direct. It has this wonderful bass presence, but they both retain clarity for a larger bodied instrument because of the V-Class bracing, and I'm actually really, really excited about those guitars, which is why I haven't sent them back to Taylor yet. Sorry, Jay. I know we've been texting, and I've been telling you how much I love these. I just haven't sent them back yet. Sorry, Jay. Love you, Jay. Jay's from Taylor. He works in their marketing and artist department, I believe, and he's always tempting me with many different instruments. Sherpa Dave says, morning. Hey, Tony, the beard here is catching up, but has a long way to go. You know, Dave, your beard is pretty impressive, I got to be honest. We're actually going to be hearing from Sherpa Dave here in a little bit, maybe right around 11:20 or so. I've got a great performance from him that really is it's a touching song in an interesting way. It's very apropos. Anyways, we'll get to that in a minute. But for those of you who've never had the pleasure to meet Sherpa Dave, and you might be sitting there wondering, Sherpa Dave, what is he helping lug somebody's gear up the Himalayas? No, Sherpa Dave got his nickname Sherpa Dave. I met Sherpa Dave, I want to say it was in 2016 or 2017, I can't remember which. He came to the Acoustic Life Festival, then known as the TAC Jamboree, and along with him, I believe this is a correct recounting of this tale. He had I want to say like a wagon full of guitars. I think he brought 7 or 8 guitars to this festival, and it's awesome. It was great, and it just he was kind of the guitar Sherpa, and I kept thinking that over the weekend, and then by the end of the weekend, it just kind of stuck. Sherpa Dave. He got a Golden Pick Award for being the guitar Sherpa, and he has lived up to that name every single Acoustic Life Festival thereafter. In fact, in Bozeman, not this last year, but the year prior, he brought another solid dose of guitars, and he's the one that turned me on to, I want to say he had a Northfield octave archtop. So it's kind of almost like a guitar size, but an octave mandolin. Beautiful instrument, and yeah, it's on my list. It's on my Christmas list. I don't know if Whitney's gonna do that because Emerson's Emerson. In terms of Christmas list priorities, Emerson, who's my newborn son, Emerson's up here. Tony's slipping. He's kind of down here right now. Anyway. That's how it goes. That's how it's supposed to go. Let's see. Cliffy B says, greetings from the Wasatch Front. Who else? We got tons of people are tuning in. It's so great to see everybody. Kathy Lewis asks a question. Why are you still doing Acoustic Tuesday at home? Simply because I love being home. To be honest, I like the studio, but I love being home as well. And I like doing Acoustic Tuesday from my guitar room because it allows me to feature more guitars, and it also this is going to sound a little strange maybe, but I feel more relaxed doing the show from home versus doing it at the studio. There's something about the studio that's like, oh, I got to put my show face on, and doing it from home allows me to feel a little bit more like just normal everyday Tony. You might not perceive the difference. I certainly do, at least internally. Sometimes in the studio, I just I get nervous because it's the studio and the cameras are here. If it's at home, I can kind of lounge in my guitar room where I find myself, most comfortable anyway. Uh, Jenny's tuning in from New Jersey. Mitch is tuning in. Mark K lives in Eagle River, just north of Anchorage. I think I popped in on a discussion of where folks are from. Martin O, greetings from Ohio. Greetings back to you, Martin O. Funny thing, we'll actually be hearing from Martin a little bit later as well. And when I first read his screen name, I thought, Martin single O. Cool. I'll check this out. And then I clicked on it and I was like, oh, no, this is a human. Martin O, last initial O. Anyways, pretty fun. You're a guitar geek when you interpret actual human names with guitar models. I guess that's an indicator that you're a guitar geek. Anyways, Lee says, who doesn't like being at home, working from home here due to COVID? Yeah, it's funny. That's how the whole Acoustic Tuesday from home thing started. I was actually doing the show. I was filming it on my phone because that's all I had, and I was at home. I wasn't in the studio around anybody. But it kind of stuck. I really started to enjoy the flexibility of doing it at home, and also some of the different features that I can do from home, and just kind of, in a way, invite the Acoustic Tuesday viewing audience kind of into my acoustic life, my real at-home acoustic life. So it's kind of fun. Let's see. SoCal Ian says, good morning from the USA's southwestern edge. Linda's tuning in from Vancouver Island, Canada. Bob G from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. I think I said that right. I probably screwed that up. Rehoboth? Maybe if somebody could put that in there phonetically for me. Rehoboth Beach? I don't know. Terry's tuning in from New Hampshire. He's a new tax student. Welcome, Terry, to maybe your first guitar party. Let's see. Tim K is tuning in from Kitchener, Ontario. Tim K, the man with the deep voice, the man that is a songwriting legend, at least in my opinion. I always watch his uploads on Instagram. Some great stuff from Tim K, always. And I also... whenever he types in Kitchener, Ontario, it always catches my eye, because I remember at one point in time, Kitchener used to be a hockey stick brand. Maybe they were bought out. I don't know. But it still rings some memories in my head. Let's see. Hal is tuning in from Alberta, Canada. Let's see. Okay. Pat's asking a question, and I don't know if I'll be able to get to it. Maybe I'll hold that question for a little bit later. In fact, I'm gonna copy it. Let's see if I can do that. This is pushing my technical skill limit here, but I'm gonna go ahead and make a note of Pat's question. It's about finger picking, and I actually want to get to it. It may require a little bit more of an in-depth answer than I can give right now, because it's about to turn 11 o'clock, and I want to really dive into the guitar party. And I have some time set aside for direct question and answer here a little bit later. But I want to dig into this workshop here in a moment. But let me just make a note of this question, Pat, and I want to come back to that because I think it's a really good question about finger picking. Let's see if I can find it again. So the question, just to kind of leave you hanging until I get to the answer. Tony, can you go into more depth on finger picking techniques? I'm having a little trouble with my fingers getting caught up in the strings. Absolutely. I'll actually share with you some exercises that I think you'd benefit from, that anybody would benefit from. I know I still benefit from the exercises to this day. So let me just dive into our guitar party number 77, which is crazy when I think about it. Guitar party number 77 months of guitar parties. That's just wild. One more quick story before we start. So I was talking about filming Acoustic Tuesday at home. My guitar room it's not huge, but it's big enough for me and my comfy chair and my tables, hanging guitars on the wall. I got the records, I got the record player. It's like my zone. Well, when I brought the official camera equipment in, there's lights and things involved, so the room got significantly smaller. Well, when I was filming the episode that's going to be coming up, not this week, but the following week, I was going through some cases, and I went to get something out of a case, and I bent down, and I cracked my head on a shelf. So let me see if I can... Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I like right before I started filming, I got this gash in my head. It's healed up pretty good now, but yeah, it's just guitar geek injuries. You know, you got to be careful when you bend down to open up a guitar case. You got to be aware. I wasn't aware. I cracked my head on the corner of a shelf. Don't do that. First lesson. Not even part of the workshop. I just wanted to share that with you. So let's dive into the official guitar party, number 77. And today's live guitar party, you're going to learn 5 things that you can do to keep your guitar routine intact. These aren't necessarily major shifts. It's just a shift in perspective in which you can start to look at your guitar routine and say, you know what? Instead of the holidays being a major hurdle, I can actually channel the chaos of the holidays and actually stick to my guitar routine. So we're going to dig into that. I've got 4 performances for you to check out today from Tony's Acoustic Challenge members whose guitar routine is certainly fueling their progress because it shows. Posting these videos and checking them out are pretty darn awesome. We've got 2 songs for you, 2 folks taking a crack at some soloing. And it sounds so good. It's really, really delightful, and we can learn a lot from them. Plus, of course, I'll be taking your questions live, and then at the end, I'll be giving away Taylor GS Mini to one lucky practice plan completer from the month of November. Anybody that completed the practice plan in November, that in and of itself is a feat. But I've got all of your faces on the dartboard behind me right there, and I'm going to be throwing a dart at that, and whoever the dart lands on wins a Taylor GS Mini. It's that simple. We'll get to all that here. But I do want to say hi to some folks. Let's see if I can do this real quick because I've been saying hi to a ton of folks, and there's so many people tuning in. It's really delightful to see. Let's see. We've got Tim G from Seattle. Jeff C is here. Bob G, Zach T, Chuck H, Guy H, Greg, Chris B, Dave A, Scott B, Nancy D, Mark K, Tim K, Jack L, David A, Patrick, Sidra C, Ed H, Cal M, Hugh W, Siggy, John S, Tim M, Ron E, Puppy Doc, Stephen J. That's just in one. Tony T. I mean, there's just a ton of people here, which is so awesome. I just saw somebody tune in that says, Coach, I'm a first timer. Be gentle. Welcome, Coach. I'm glad you're here, and it's going to be awesome. You're going to have a blast. I got somebody tuning in from Winnipeg. Ricardo's tuning in from Winnipeg. Nolan R. tuning in from Reading, and Bill L. tuning in from Monterey, California. Over on the Facebook side, we've got a ton of people. Dawn F., Heath P., John B., Connie R., Philip B., who else do we have? Mary A., Kevin L., Terry M., Patty H., Kathy L., Lee W., Landell S., Lee W., I already said Lee W., caught myself, Andy P., Barb R., Dee Dee is there, Dan S., holy smokes, it's really cool to see you all. I want to, I guess, kick things off by thanking you for taking time out of your schedule to join me today. As I mentioned right at the beginning, I will be leaving some time specifically open for Q&A, guitar-related Q&A. And I'll be doing that probably right around 11, depending on how fast I can go, 11:20, 11:25, 11:30. So if you have a question at any point today, please, just because the comments can get a little bit frequent, please put hashtag question and then go ahead and ask your question. That will help me kind of suss out what's an actual question and what might just be a hello or a discussion that's going on in the comments. So again, if you have a question at any point in time today, hashtag question. If I don't answer it right away, I will be setting aside time later to get to your question. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dig into 5 ways to keep your guitar routine on track through the holidays. You know, as I mentioned before, the holidays are just an insane time. Maybe, I don't know if they're less insane or more insane this year, to be quite honest with you. Maybe they're less insane because there's maybe less travel involved. Maybe they're more insane because you got Zoom calls lined up with every family member, coast to coast. You don't know. But nonetheless, holidays do pose extra stressors that can impact our daily routine, and for us guitar geeks, our guitar routine, which is something that I believe and I think we should hold in very high regard. Our guitar routine is something to be protected, and really the secret to any progress on the guitar is a solid guitar routine. because your success, however you define it, is directly related to the health of your guitar routine. I see it time and time again, story after story, and I've experienced it myself as well. So I truly believe that. And one of the things that usually falters during the holidays is your guitar routine. It seems like one of those things that, oh, there's so much going on. I got to get gifts for, the kids or the grandkids, and I got to make dinner, and I got to bake, and I got to, put up the Christmas lights or decorate the house for the holidays, whatever the case may be. And the things that we really love sometimes get sacrificed, i.e. your guitar routine. So I'm going to share with you 5 things that you can do to keep your guitar routine on track. So let's just kick things off with the first thing, and that is I want you to avoid the perfection trap. In fact, if you have a pen and paper, you might benefit from writing these down if you're a pen and paper type person, because these have helped me significantly, and I know that they will help you, especially if you're struggling to either get into a routine or maintain a routine. So the first thing is to avoid the perfection trap. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at your guitar routine as an ever-evolving thing that is there to facilitate your progress. Instead of judging your guitar routine on a pass-fail basis or in a black and white manner, I don't ever want you to look at your guitar routine and say, "Oh, my guitar routine is no good," or "Oh, my guitar routine is just it's the worst. I don't even have a guitar routine right now." There's help for you if you need a guitar routine. You can always jump into a guitar routine, but I don't want you to judge your guitar routine as a pass-fail. I want you to judge your guitar routine from the perspective of an ever-evolving thing that you're continually tweaking and flexing so that it works for you. Maybe that means during the holidays, you really were doing awesome. October, even November, you were sitting down for a half an hour a day. It was like you committed to 10 minutes and all of a sudden it was a half an hour. Whoa, this is great. December might be a different story, and you might have to dial that back and say, you know what, 10 minutes a day is what I can commit to. It's realistic, and I'll feel good about that. And that's okay. Your guitar routine is something that you can tweak to work for you, okay? Because you're working towards something here. It's not. You're not getting quizzed or tested on your guitar routine. It's simply not a pass-fail thing. It's something that you can continually tweak to make work for you, your goals, and where you want to go with the guitar. And bottom line, I want you to tweak it in a way that helps you have fun with the instrument. I don't ever want you to sit down with your guitar out of obligation. That just breeds all sorts of bad negative feelings. I want you to sit down and be like, yeah, this is my escape. December is crazy as hell. Let's sit down and have fun with the instrument. So tip number 1, avoid the perfection trap. There's no such thing as a perfect guitar routine. There is such a thing as a guitar routine that works for you, and that's what I want you to strive for. However that looks for you, everybody's different. The next tip that I have for you is to know where you're headed. Okay, and this really underscores the importance of the 90-day guitar goal that within Tony's Acoustic Challenge we set every 90 days. In fact, we have one coming up in January, the first guitar party in January. I'll be walking you through that goal-setting process again. I'll be sharing my goal with you, and I want you to set a goal for yourself as well, because if you know where you're headed, you know what to work on, and you know what things will align with the goal you're trying to achieve. If you don't know your destination or what you're working towards, it's really difficult to measure any progress. It's really difficult to get any traction, and quite simply, it's difficult to evaluate and say, I'm on track, or maybe I need to, up my game a little bit here. So know where you're headed. Know what that goal is, because I want you to achieve your goals. And more importantly, I want the guitar to fit into your life the way that you see it fitting into your life, in your guitar dream scene. I want you to fulfill those goals, those dreams that you have associated with the guitar, whether that be playing for your kids, whether that be learning a brand new song, writing your own song, or recording a song to share with your family or friends. I want you to achieve that goal, and the only way to do that is to set a goal and know where you're headed. So that's tip number 2, is to know where you're headed. Tip number 3 is to understand distraction demons. Yes, understand distraction demons. Basically, what this means is avoid distraction. Okay, pretty simple, but very hard to do. Very hard to do. And I want you to understand why distraction is ever present. in our guitar journeys. It's always there. Distraction is always available to us. And I don't think we can solely blame technology, although it plays a huge part. I mean, if you go on YouTube, there are bazillion lessons. If you type in guitar, you get something crazy like 8 million videos of guitar lessons. So you're just, I mean, boom, you can be caught in a distraction tornado nearly immediately and be pulled away from your initial intent. But I think there's one layer deeper that we need to understand. And that is this: distraction enters the picture when we're uncomfortable. Quite simply, distraction is a coping mechanism. And I say this because I just stumbled into this myself. I've been reading this book. It's called Indistractable. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on the book, but I also want to give credit where credit is due because it's helped me understand the distraction and the purpose that it actually serves. Because it serves a purpose. We don't like being uncomfortable. Plain and simple, our number one goal as a human being is to seek comfort and avoid things that are difficult and avoid things that are uncomfortable. Well, when you're trying something new on the guitar, it's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to sound bad. I certainly don't. When I sit down with the guitar, I want to sound good. But the only way to get better is to do the things that you don't know how to do. And if you don't know how to do them, they're not going to sound great at first. And that's totally okay. But I want you to understand that. And I want you to go into playing the guitar with the intent that if you're trying something new, it's going to take some work and it's going to feel uncomfortable. And you will be tempted by distraction. So please understand that first and foremost. And secondly, try to avoid distraction at all costs, i.e., set an intention before you sit down to play the guitar. Know that if you're working on a Mississippi John Hurt song, you're going to open the guitar case and you're going to get right to work on that Mississippi John Hurt song. You're not going to sit there and look for something to work on and then get pulled off into some magical YouTube vortex that takes you away to, learning about this lady who rescued a chimpanzee and now they live happily ever after in the woods. Maybe an extreme example, but that's what happens. Set your intention and avoid distraction. But know that distraction enters the picture when we're feeling uncomfortable. So if you're tempted by distraction, chances are you're on the right track and you're about to make a huge breakthrough in your playing. So fight that fight that as hard as you can, and know that setting an intention and knowing what to work on before you even open your guitar case is the number one thing that you can do to help yourself not be distracted. Okay, so understand those distraction demons and avoid them at all costs. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do, but the more you understand about why distraction enters the picture, the better you can actually fight it. And I found that, in my own playing and my own practice sessions as well, is there's sometimes when I'm working on things and I'm really struggling. Like I sound like I picked up the guitar yesterday. Cross-picking, I'll just be specific. Cross-picking actually is my arch nemesis right now. And I find my attention straying because it's difficult. But if I stay on track, I get rewarded with new skills that I'm actually learning. So keep that in mind. I don't think I have to keep beating that horse. The next tip I have for you is to celebrate the good times. Celebrate small wins. We do this all the time within Tony's Acoustic Challenge, and yes, it feels good, and yes, it's awesome to share those small wins with other folks because it helps motivate and inspire them as well. But there's actually a scientific reason why small wins are so important. And the cool thing is I actually found this out after underscoring the importance of small wins, because I always thought, well, this feels good. You should celebrate what you're doing well, and you should feel good about it. But it actually has a trigger in our brain that makes your guitar routine stick. I actually wrote this down. I'm going to read it verbatim off of my notes because I think it's really important. Celebration of progress is essential. Habits are actually locked in based on the way the action makes you feel rather than a certain amount of time, contrary to the commonly held belief. Put plainly, if something makes you feel good, you'll keep doing it. And if it doesn't, it's impossible to sustain. Now, I'm going to make a really drastic parallel here. I want you to consider people that have the habit of smoking cigarettes. You think to yourself, well, that doesn't make anybody feel good. You can't breathe. You're short of breath. You can't run. You're winded when you get to the top of the stairs. How is smoking a cigarette making you feel good? actually the main trigger of smoking the cigarette is the participant actually feeling good. I should mention I'm not endorsing smoking cigarettes right now, but I want you to just look at this from a different perspective. Somebody who sits down to smoke a cigarette, it's their relief for the day. It's their escape. I finally feel good. I can, pop outside and smoke a cigarette. Maybe I should have picked a healthier example, but I'm going to go with it because I think it may raise some eyebrows. So the association with smoking a cigarette is a good association. The feeling is good at the time. The reason that habit sticks is because it feels good. Yes, there's, I'm not going to even get into nicotine and that whole stuff. But the reason the habit comes to mind first is because it feels good. Imagine if you took that power and harnessed it to your guitar playing, something that's truly healthy, something that's truly fulfilling, something that helps you have fun, right? So celebrating those small wins, yes, it feels good to celebrate. Yes, it helps inspire and motivate other guitar geeks, but it actually serves as a function of reinforcing your habit and effectively making your guitar routine stick. Because the better something feels, the more likely you are to do it. If you end every practice session with a gasp and like a, I didn't get any better. I'm no good. Quite simply, you're not going to keep playing guitar. You're not. Nobody wants to continually do something that makes them feel like that. So find the one thing that you did good. Find the one thing that's celebration worthy and celebrate the heck out of it. If the pick finally felt good in your hand and it wasn't spinning around and you felt like, oh my gosh, I actually felt a little bit more accurate today. A little bit more accurate. That's celebration worthy. And that little tiny celebration feeds your guitar routine, it feeds your guitar habit, and it makes that habit much more likely to stick. This is even more essential now than ever because of the chaotic month that we're in with the holidays and things like that. Now, the last tip I have for you is this. Excuse me. The last tip I have for you is this, and that is patience. Patience, power. Patience is power. Channel and harness the power of patience. There's going to be times when things don't go the way that you had imagined them. And that's totally fine. And actually, this pings back at that guitar goal-setting process that I walk you through because we actually visualize what might go wrong and make a plan for it. So coming up, this next live party that we'll be doing in January, in fact, I'll get a date here for you in just a moment, it's really important, okay? So I want you to attend. In fact, if you have Guitar Geek buddies within Tony's Acoustic Challenge that haven't been attending the lives, please encourage them to attend because this 90-day guitar goal-setting workshop is vital to your routine, the fun you experience, the focus that you have and bring to the guitar, and ultimately the progress. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So our next live, that goal-setting process will be January 6th at 11 a.m. That'll give you a chance to recover from New Year's Eve, any traveling that you may do or any late nights that you might have. January 6th at 11 a.m. We'll be doing that next guitar party. That will be a 90-day goal-setting workshop. You'll get a worksheet, allows you to write out your goal, make a plan for those inevitable hurdles that happen, and that brings me back to the patience piece. The final tip I have for you is patience. It's really a powerful thing. Things aren't going to go your way, but I want you to have patience and know that that's just temporarily, right? It could be just a bad day. Tomorrow's a new day, or the evening is a new time frame where you can sit down with your guitar. Sometimes the day before, you'll be knocking a song out of the park, and the next day you sit down with it, you look at your fingers and you're like, what happened to you guys? Where is it? I've had that happen countless times where I go to bed knowing a song by heart. I wake up the next day, I sit down to practice, and all of a sudden I'm like, I had this yesterday. What happened? Try your best to have patience with yourself, right? This, again, it's called a guitar journey for a reason, and I know that's super cliche. It's all about the journey, not about the destination, but I think it's cliche for a reason because there's a huge element of truth in it, in that destinations don't necessarily facilitate the best processes. The best processes facilitate the best processes, and for us guitar geeks, our process is a guitar routine. A day in, day out guitar routine that we have patience with, a day in, day out guitar routine that we flex and tweak to fit our goals and our circumstances for that particular day or that particular time in our life. So those are the 5 things that I want you to kind of chew on a little bit as you go into December, maybe with a little fear that your guitar routine will be affected, or maybe feeling that your guitar routine has already been affected. I'm going to recap those 5 tips for you again. Avoid the perfection trap. Nothing is perfect. Perfect is is not a word I even want you to use. Avoid the perfection trap. Your guitar routine, make sure your guitar routine works for you. There's no perfect guitar routine. It's not a pass-fail situation. It's not good-bad. It's finding the thing that works for you and doing so on a consistent, regular basis. The second tip I had for you is know where you're headed. Set a goal so you know where you're working towards. If you're not working towards anything, if you haven't visualized what the guitar means to you or where you're headed with it, it's really tough to stick with it, because those dream scenes are what we hang on to when sometimes you just don't feel like playing the guitar, but you think, man, I want to play that open mic. And I committed to doing this, and I'm going to do that. I can see myself playing that open mic. So know where you're headed and really, really attach yourself to that goal. And again, that goal-setting workshop is going to happen January 6th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. You'll get an email about it. Don't worry. You'll have plenty of reminders. In fact, I'll be sending out an email with the worksheets and things so you can fill them out. And then the next thing, understand distraction demons. Know that as a guitar geek, our number one enemy is distraction, but also understanding that, yeah, that's our enemy, but why does it enter the picture in the first place? And generally it pops up because we're uncomfortable and we might be sounding not very good because we're trying something new. That means you're on the right track. If you're struggling or feeling like you're working hard at something, that means you're on the right track. So try and fight that temptation for distraction. And again, if you're looking for that book, I mentioned a book. It's not like required reading, but it's something I found fascinating. It's called Indistractable. The next tip I had for you is celebrate the good times. That actually makes you feel good, inspires other people when you publicly celebrate them, but also it facilitates your guitar routine. It locks in a habit. The feeling associated with an action is a much stronger habit-forming device than any amount of time. There's been this actual myth, and it's actually scientifically proven that, there was a certain amount of days to lock in a habit, 21 days or something like that. It's actually not true. It's the feeling associated with it. And the book that I'll cite here, I'm not citing exact text, but the sentiment is there. It's a book by B.J. Fogg. It's called Tiny Habits, and this is one of his big principles. It's about the feeling that the action gives you, as opposed to any duration. Right? If something feels bad, you simply can't maintain it. If something feels good, you will maintain it because, well, it feels good and you're celebrating it. And the final tip I had for you is patience, the power of patience. Understanding that things on paper don't necessarily always play out exactly in real life, and that's totally okay. And that, you might miss a day. You might miss a day. Does that mean your guitar routine's horrible? No, it means life got in the way. But that doesn't define you or your guitar routine. It simply means that it was a busy day. And you can hop right back in the next day. You won't lose any traction at all. You won't lose any momentum. In fact, getting excited about hopping in again is exactly the emotion that I want you to have behind it. Don't think back to the past and wish you had that day back. Think to the future and what you can do about it, right? So those are my 5 tips to help you maintain your practice routine through the holidays, and really through any busy time in your life, or just through life in general, because if we know anything, life will inevitably throw us curveballs. And that's just the way it is. And if we are prepared, and if we have a good solid mindset and our intentions are in the right place, we'll stay on track and we'll reap the benefits of a solid guitar routine, which is exactly what I want you to do. I do want to ask you if you have any questions about guitar routines, guitar routine development. I'll kind of hit those first. And then if you have any questions about guitar playing, whatever your questions are, we'll hit those here in just a little bit. But I want to ask for your questions right now. So in the comments, #question, and I'll get to those questions in a little bit. Again, in the comments, I didn't even finish my sentence. #question, ask your question. That kind of notifies me that, okay, this is a question, not just a general comment. And I'll be hitting those here in a little bit. But first, what I want to do is I want to sync into a couple performances from our very own TAC family members. Some really great stuff. This first one comes from Mike S. And Mike S., I'll just read to you what he wrote. He said, I added a bit more to the around the clock lick from last week, and it really seemed to fill out nicely. There's still work to do on it, but it was a fun exercise. I love this for a couple reasons, and I'm going to share with you the video here in a moment. But this is a great example of taking a lick that you learn within Tony's Acoustic Challenge. We learn licks on Tuesdays, and using it as an idea seed and adding more to it. Just because the lick is taught in a certain way and just because the lick is tabbed out in a certain way doesn't mean that it starts and stops there. I want you to use it as creative fuel, and I think Mike S. did a great job of this. So here is Mike S. playing his addition to the Around the Clock exercise. Here he is. Awesome. Great job, Mike S. I'm going to give you a little round of applause there. So one of the things that I really enjoy about Mike's amendment to the exercise, and really just his commitment to the flat pick direction, if you looked at his picking hand as he was playing, really solid in the alternating picking motion that really brings out the beauty of cross picking and makes it actually a little bit easier in terms of how it lays in relation to time. Really great job, Mike, and just a fantastic performance. I appreciate you sharing that. A lot of great comments I saw. Just good job, Mike S. Smooth and peaceful. Really awesome stuff. Great relationship to timing as well. The next performance that I have from you is one that I mentioned and alluded to earlier from Sherpa Dave, who I gave the story of his nickname earlier. It has to do with lugging multiple guitars around the country. But anyways, I'm going to set this up. So Sherpa Dave, I got to bring it back here. I got to give you some context. On Friday nights, there's a Friday night open mic, virtual open mic for Tony's Acoustic Challenge members, and it's been really great. It's been the home to some wonderful performances, some wonderful folks just simply playing for one another, and more importantly, the environment created really facilitates support. So for folks that really have always wanted to play for other people, around other people, it's actually created a really wonderful environment. And I've seen a lot of people play for the first time. And you'd think, oh, during these kind of COVID times, playing an open mic is out of the question. Well, we found a way. And a huge tip of the hat to Vic for putting that on and really organizing it. And also, I want to say a huge tip to Kathleen as well for hosting, and all the other hosts I've seen. Kraz has hosted, and among everybody else, I don't want to list all the names because I know I'll forget somebody and I'll feel bad. But anyways, this performance from Sherpa Dave was pulled from a Friday night open mic, and I'm gonna set it up and then I'll cue the video here. In fact, because I gotta fast forward a little bit because it'll just be redundant. I'll read the post and then we'll listen to the performance. So Sherpa Dave says this: I've heard this song many times as it's on one of my bedtime playlists, but I had never really paid full attention to the words until recently. When I did, I realized that this wasn't a lullaby in spite of the way it sounds, but it is a song about loneliness and passing. In these days where COVID patients are passing away without their families, I found it particularly pertinent. I originally heard this song played by the Syncopaths, who I have seen at a couple local house concerts. I highly recommend checking them out. I did my arrangement of this song based on how the mandolin and piano parts are played in their version. The arrangement is simple, but it felt right for this song. So with that said, let's take it away, Sherpa Dave.
Lay me down gently, lay me down low. I fear I am broken and won't bend, I know. The one thing I ask when the stars light the skies, who now will sing me lullabies? In this big world I'm lonely, for I am but small. Oh, angels in heaven, don't you care for me at all? You heard my heart breaking, for it rang through the skies. So why won't you sing me lullabies? Lay here I'm weeping, for the stars they have come. I lay here not sleeping, now the long night has begun. The man in the moon, oh, he can't help but cry. There's no one to sing me lullabies. So lay me down gently, or lay me down low. I fear I am broken and won't mend, I know. One thing I ask when the stars light the skies, who now will sing me lullabies? Oh, who now will sing me lullabies? Who will sing me to sleep? Who will sing me to sleep? Who will sing me to sleep? Who will sing me to sleep?
What a great performance from Sherpa Dave. Just delightful. And I think, he mentioned something. I was just going back to my notes here. He said the arrangement is simple, but it felt right for the song. I couldn't agree more. It really, just fitting. Your voice fits the song great, Dave, and just a great performance. Solid beard growth. I just have to make a comment on that. Really solid beard growth. That has nothing to do with guitar, although I do feel there's a slight advantage to bearded folks playing the guitar. I heard the bearded lady was quite the guitar player from back in the circus days. No, I'd never heard that. Anyways, great job, Sherpa Dave. Really great stuff. In fact, I saw a comment from him. He said, I believe the first, the original writer of the song was Kate Rusby. I want to say that. So really great stuff. Again, the voice fit the song perfectly. The sparse arrangement was awesome, and just a great finger picking. One of the things that I've always found difficult is finger picking a waltz and singing it at the same time, which Sherpa Dave just did right before your very eyes, almost as if it was a guitar magic trick. Great job, and thank you for sharing that. I want to open it up to some questions. Actually, some questions came in that I'm going to hit right now. So this first question comes from Sidra C. The question: I'm getting over major surgery, 6 weeks now. I can't sit normally and have been trying to play using a strap. I'm struggling to move forward and have only been able to practice what I already know. how do I move forward? This is a great question, and it really playing guitar standing up with a strap is a skill in and of itself. So I actually don't think you're on the wrong track at all here. I think one of the greatest things you can do when trying to learn how to play with a strap is to play the things you already know. Because one of the things that I like to do when I'm learning something new, a new skill, in this case, playing standing up, which is a new skill in and of itself, is I don't want you to compound the complication, right? So if you're trying to play standing up with a guitar strap on, learn a new song that might contain new chords, new picking patterns, that's 4 things you've stacked all in one. Take something that you know, something that you're very comfortable playing with sitting down already, and then play standing up and see how that translates. You might struggle with it, and that's totally okay, because remember, keep in mind, the skill that you're learning is standing up and playing, which it can feel a little bit bizarre. I have a couple of tips for that as well. One of the things that I found useful when I was first learning how to play standing up is I put the guitar strap on and adjust it to the same height that the guitar was when I was sitting down. So I'd take the guitar, sit down with it if you can. If you can't, this tip might not apply. But I would basically adjust the strap so that the guitar wouldn't move if I stood up. If I stood up, the guitar would come with me. And it's kind of high for me anyway. I kind of feel like early Beatles when I put a guitar strap or an instrument strap on anything. I feel like I play the guitar way up here. Anyways, that's just the way it is. But that's one thing. The other thing, and a recommendation that I have, is to find a strap that doesn't slip. Some straps have a nylon backing, which I'm not saying that they're bad, but the nylon feels, think like seatbelt material. It actually slips on your shirt. Whereas I found, I personally really like the Native Sons straps. Native Sons, I think they're out of New Mexico. But they use a hemp backing, or you can order a strap with a hemp backing. And that hemp backing, while also durable, actually grabs onto your shirt, not like a Velcro way, but it grabs onto your shirt so the guitar stays really stable, which is super helpful, especially if you're kind of battling that movement of the guitar as you're standing up. So awesome question, Sidra, and just a best of luck moving forward for you in recovering from your surgery and learning to use a strap with a guitar. But yeah, definitely try and peel back what you're trying and just focus on the one skill, be it standing with the guitar. Once you feel good about playing what you know standing, then you can start to throw in some new things. One of the things that particularly was a friction point for me in playing standing up was bar chords. I think I would leverage the guitar against my body when I was sitting down, and I didn't seem to have that leverage anymore when I was standing up. So definitely some things to get used to, but try what you know, and then once that starts to feel comfortable, then you can start layering in some new things. But always, I guess, bottom line, the sentiment is to really try and limit the new things to a small amount or a single thing if you can, because that helps you really isolate what you're learning and start to progress even a little bit faster. The next question comes from Tim K. I've been struggling with trying to learn any strumming that involves palm muting. Just can't get the hang of it. Any tips on building blocks to learn this technique? Yes, I do have a few things that I can offer you, Tim, but I'll say that I too struggle with this. In fact, I was just messing around with this morning. I've been in a pop punk phase. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Blink-182 and all those bands. Anyways, but they do a lot of palm muting. It's a lot of electric guitar, but it's a lot of like that type of thing. And if I was to try and sing and do that at the same time, I think I would short circuit and my ears would start smoking. But one of the things that I would say, and it actually kind of pings back at Sidra's question that was just asked, is try and limit the new things. Okay, so if palm muting is what you're targeting, palm muting and singing, first make sure your palm muting is dialed in, and do so with a basic rhythm pattern. If you're a kind of a boom chicka, like a bass strum, get that first without palm muting, and then bring in the palm muting. So take something really simple, something that you can do nearly unconsciously, and take that rhythm pattern and add palm muting to it. Now, because palm muting is a new technique, You might want to adjust your picking hand. You might try it maybe a little bit further back towards the bridge. That's where I find the best tone and the most comfort. Right? And one of the things that is kind of a misleading maybe is that you have to keep your palm down all the time. If you noticed right there, I'm going to try and not fall out of my chair. So if I fall out of my chair, this is going to be live, and you can all have a laugh and hope I'm okay. But you'll notice that I occasionally pick up my palm just to grab maybe the bass string. So you don't have to, anchor your palm down the entire time. You can find a way to be a little bit more free with it so it's more comfortable and you feel a little bit less constricted. So simple rhythm, add the palm muting, because what this will allow you to do is focus on the palm muting and then the singing. So it's just layers. It's the classic kind of onion approach. It's just one layer at a time, keeping, add something new, get comfortable with it, add the next new thing. So I hope that helps, Tim. That's a great question. And I actually, just looking at my notes here and the time, I've got a really important announcement about Tony's Acoustic Challenge coming up, something that will blow your mind. It's blown my mind. I got a couple more questions, though, that I want to get to, but I forgot to mention at the beginning. I can't believe that. I get excited about digging into these, and I'm like, there's a big major development that I'm going to share with you here in just a little bit. But let me hit another couple of questions. Nick B, question. How do you feel about using your thumb on a full chord, like an F chord, rather than a bar chord? Love it if you can do it. It's one of those things that I can bend my thumb further backwards than I can forwards. I was built that way. It's the way it is. So I can occasionally use my thumb to wrap over the guitar neck, maybe on a D chord if I want to throw in a low third bass note, an F sharp note, like this. So sometimes I'll be able to wrap that thumb and grab that low note. But I can't seem to do it on an F chord. My thumb just doesn't work that way. If it did work that way, I would be doing it all the time because it's quite comfortable. So yes, if it works for you, green light, pedal to the metal, go for it. Because anything we can do to make things easier for us or adapt chords or what have you to things that work for us, that's a huge green light. There's no right or wrong there. I think that's a great skill to have. Unfortunately, just physically, I personally can't do it. So I'm jealous, Nick, if you can do that. That's a tool in your toolbox. And one more question from Norm C. He says, question, I'm doing the 30 Days to Play course, but also trying to do the daily December practice plan. Being new, fingers get sore doing both. Should I keep doing both? Should one course take priority over the other? It's kind of a nice common theme here with these questions. I would say, Norm, if you're digging the 30 Days to Play, and you're logging in on a daily basis and you're maintaining a solid routine, stick your focus to the 30 Days to Play course and work through that lesson by lesson. There's no need to pile on everything all at once. The daily challenge will always be there. And I think that the true answer is, as long as you're logging in daily and maintaining a solid guitar routine, whatever helps you do that, that's exactly what I want you to do. If you're really digging the 30 Days to Play, the 30 Days to Play course, and you feel like you're excited to jump back in where you left off or learn something brand new, do that. Log in and do that, because that's going to help fuel your guitar routine. Whereas if you're trying to do everything all at once, it might feel like too much, and you might start to get into that self-talk of like, I didn't do that, or focus on the things you didn't do. Well, I want you to focus on the things you did do and had fun with. If that's 30 Days to Play, awesome. If that happens to be the daily challenge, awesome. But I would say pick one that excites you most and follow that. And if you feel like, okay, I've been working on the 30 Days to Play thing for a bit, and I'm feeling good about it, but I think I've peaked out on my excitement for right now. Pop over to the daily challenge. It will always be there for you. You have a new one every weekday that you log in, so you can always pop over to the daily challenge and see how your skills are measuring up. What have you been learning in 30 Days to Play that is carrying over to the daily challenge? And I think you'll be surprised and find that quite a bit carries over into that daily challenge. Great questions. Thank you, Norm. Thank you, Nick, Tim, and Sidra. And I want to get to that Pat question that I pulled earlier before I make this next kind of major announcement that will affect every single TAC member, every single one. Pat asked, Tony, can you go into more depth on finger picking techniques? I'm having a little trouble with my fingers getting caught up in the strings. Yes, let me give you just a few exercises and a few things to think about. When I was first learning finger picking, it really helped me to slow down and simplify the pattern and really, again, build it up in layers. I hate to keep saying that, but it's true. So I'm just going to grab an E chord here. And E chord. I make mine funny. You can make yours however you want. But in terms of my picking fingers, I'm going to just adjust this a little bit so you can see my picking fingers. What I start with is the thumb and alternating the bass. So my thumb's going to bop from the low E to the D. That's it. And you'll see that in the meantime, my index is resting on the B and my middle is resting on the high E. But they're not doing anything. They're just simply resting there, right? Okay. This doesn't seem all that crazy, and it's really not, but the idea is to build a solid foundation that you can then grow from and start to layer on complexity. Because the thumb just moving back and forth, maybe that feels complex to you right now, and that's okay. What I want you to do is practice E, D, E, D. E string, D string, E string, D string. And if you have to look at the strings, look at the strings. But when it starts to become comfortable, start to pull your eyes away from the strings. And okay, I got it. It's pretty consistent. Cool. Now we're going to start activating the other fingers, right? So when my thumb hits the low E, I'm going to be pinching the B with it. So both fingers are going to be active at the same time. Just a pinch. Okay. And then when my thumb comes down to the D string, I'm going to be pinching the high E along with it, with my middle finger. Because remember, those index and middle fingers, they were resting on those strings already. So they should feel relatively comfortable. And you're going to want to take this slow, probably slower than you were just moving your thumb. So it'll be pinch, pinch. Again, it's simple, but we're layering things, right? And you might feel a little disoriented here because you're adding some other stuff. But just remember, your thumb's doing the same thing. All you're doing now is pinching. The next step that I would do is to actually stagger it. So it's thumb, then index, thumb, then middle. And you can even say it out loud. In fact, when I was learning banjo, that helped me keep my fingers straight and helped me really identify patterns. I would say thumb, index, thumb, middle. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Okay? Now, that's just simply over a low E string, but the idea is to know what you're doing, say what you're doing, look at what you're doing, and then train yourself to kind of move it to the unconscious and then layer the next thing on. And you can do that over, if you want to do an A chord, you're welcome to do that, but you can adjust your thumb. So now that it's the A and the D string, now I walked through that rather quickly, but it was the same process. I started out with the thumb, then I moved to the pinch, and then I staggered it. So just a couple of things for you to work on, but I would say, any pattern you're trying to learn, any pattern you're trying to use, break it down into its parts. The thumb is usually doing one consistent thing. The index and or middle finger are usually doing another consistent thing. If you can isolate those things first, understand the fine motor skills involved and really kind of identify and develop the muscle memory, then you can start adding them together, right? Because a lot of times with finger picking patterns, I did this. You see it and you want to attain the full thing right away. In an ideal world, that's great, but building up to it and understanding the pieces involved will give you a far better understanding on how to actually use it later on, how to modify it, and how it works with the way you like to play and your relationship with timing, and how you can help keep steady time while fingerpicking. So that's a good question, Pat, and I really appreciate you asking that a little bit earlier on. Let me move on to an announcement that I have for you, and this is just beyond exciting. This is something that has been going on for months that I've had to keep my mouth shut about because, it wasn't ready. It's actually still technically not ready, but it's to the point now where I know it's going to happen. I just don't know when it's going to happen. TAC, Tony's Acoustic Challenge, is getting a new look. Getting a brand new look in the coming months. Now, I've been watching this develop from probably, I actually want to say February or March of 2020, and it might actually have been even earlier than that. It's been so long, I've kind of lost track of when this whole project started, but the whole goal was to create an environment that would increase the fun that you have with the guitar, increase your focus, and thereby increase your progress. And this new look is going to facilitate all of that. From the navigation to how you participate in the daily challenge, the new look is actually going to facilitate you progressing and staying focused on your goal that much more than TAC already does. So I'm super excited to share this with you. I just don't have a solid date yet. So this is kind of like an announcement about the announcement. But I feel confident enough that it's to a point to where in the coming months you're going to see a brand new look of Tony's Acoustic Challenge, and I think you're going to log in, and I think you'll be just super excited about how. I'm trying not to give everything away. Super excited about how simplified it is and how much you can sit down with your guitar and focus immediately and get to work. And I think I will make the bold statement in that this new look of Tony's Acoustic Challenge will actually correlate to your progress on the guitar. I will jump out on a limb and say that. I believe in it that much. That much thought and development has gone into it. Like I said, I've been reading a lot of books about habit and distraction and things like that. And I will say that there's been a lot of newfound knowledge that Levi, myself, Summer, and I have all infused into the development of this new look. So I'm very excited. What this means for you is that I'm going to be announcing a date of the official new look soon, but I wanted to give you the sneak peek. Not a sneak peek. I'm not going to show you anything quite yet. But I wanted to at least let you know about it so that it was on your radar and it's something that you can look forward to here. I don't know if it's going to be 2020. It might be 2021, and I think 2021 will be the year for it. I think so. I could be surprised, but we'll see. But I'll, of course, keep you in the loop as things develop to the true launching of the new look. Like I said, you're not going to just log in one day and it's going to be like everything's different. You'll be well aware of the change that's coming, and I'm super excited for you to see it. So that is coming up. Let's dig back into a couple performances from the TAC family. I saw a question over on YouTube, and I'm not even going to say it, but the answer is a tentative yes, maybe. Anyways, let me jump into a couple more performances from the TAC family. This is one that I had alluded to before also. This is from Martin O. From Ohio. Again, this was I saw his name and I thought it was a guitar model, Martin Singolo, but it's an individual, it's a human, Martin O. And he says, "Hi all, first time submitting anything or using YouTube, so hopefully I'm doing this right and it's in the correct place. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone." Well, Martin, you did a great job. Now, Martin did a solo here to the Clubber Lang exercise, which was a tip of the hat to Rocky, the Rocky movie series. But one of the things I want you to notice on Martin's solo as you watch it and listen to it is his utilization of space, his ability to phrase, and his ability to let notes breathe. I feel like he took a very elevated approach to this solo, and I think there's so much to learn from him in this video, because sometimes when we try and solo, we think, more notes, more notes. And when I say we, I'm lumping myself in there because we get caught in these thought patterns as guitar geeks. Maybe it's oh gosh, I learned this new scale and I can't wait to try it out. And that's fine and that's good. And I want you to do that. But sometimes that can sound like very scalar or serial playing, meaning note after note after note after note, and it all becomes kind of one-dimensional. What Martin was able to do here is really add space and let the notes breathe and carry the true emotional weight that they do. So without further ado, here's Martin playing an incredible solo. Let's take a look, listen, and learn from him. How awesome was that? I mean, just tasty. I mean, we need to do that. Yeah, we need that, and we need that, and we need that. In all seriousness, Martin did such a great job, and it was such a delight to listen to. I kind of, when that first started, it had almost this this kind of Eagles vibe. Almost, I'm trying to think Eagles, kind of, kind of Hotel California's, but not in that minor spooky sense, and just that kind of delicate. Each note meant something. Like it was very intentionally placed, and I love seeing that, and I love being reminded that that's just as important. I think a lot of times soloing is viewed as note, 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 all these notes, all these notes. Look at the scale. Look what I can play. This is what I can play, and I'm going to play all of it. Martin was very tempered in his approach, in that the notes that sounded good, that created this emotional pull, they just rang out and they did their job. It's really it's awesome. I'm pumped about that, and I was excited to listen to that. And as soon as I listened to it, I thought this needs to go into the guitar party, because it's like a lesson in and of itself. Beautiful stuff, Martin. Thank you for sharing. Really, really great stuff. I've got one more performance. It's a very holiday-infused performance from one of our TAC family members, Melanie H. She says this: Happy Thanksgiving, everyone here in the U.S. I've been learning Silent Night from the Song Vault, and it has increased my love of guitar so much, so I thought I'd share. Thank you, Tony, for creating such an amazing rendition. Thanks for watching. If Open D Tuning calls to you, definitely give this song a go. It's so much fun. I have some comments on her performance, but I'll reserve those until after we check it out. So this is Melanie H. Playing Silent Night in Open D Tuning for us.
All right. Hey, everyone. This is like my 10th take. My daughter is videoing it, and she's really bored. So I'm going to see if I can do this. This is Silent Night, Open D Week. Happy Thanksgiving. I really love being a part of this community. So here we go. Okay.
I had to keep that yay in there. It's so cool to hear that song played so well. And a couple of things, a few things I just want to mention. Number one, I think that was a Recording King Series 9, maybe? Dirty 30 Series 9, I think. If not, I know it's a Recording King guitar. Sounded great. It actually resembled, the first thing I thought was John Fahey's Christmas album, one of John Fahey's Christmas albums, when I heard the tone of that guitar. So that's just kind of the guitar geek coming out in me. I wanted to mention that. The second thing, recording yourself is one thing, and it can induce that red light fever where it's like, man, I played this fine, like, by myself without pressing record. As soon as I pressed record, all of a sudden, it's like I forget how to play it. Well, Melanie upped the ante just a little bit. Her daughter was recording it. So not only did she have the red light, she had somebody standing behind the red light recording it. So great job, Melanie, to just kind of hop in and share that with us. Beautiful playing. Your thumb consistency, if we're going to really look at technique, your thumb consistency was admirable. It was fantastic, and again, the tone was awesome, really delightful. Thanks so much for sharing that. Really glad you dig Open D tuning, and really nice kind of setup for the holidays for us. A beautiful tune. Anyways, I want to dig into a couple more questions that may have come in here in the last 10 or so minutes. I know that there were some questions floating around, and as I'm answering these questions, I have a favor that I want to ask of you. You know, we talked about celebrating the good times, the small wins. What small win have you had in the last month? Please let me know. Remember, these celebration of small wins serves as, well, it feels good to be like, I did it. You know, the F chord, I made it once, and it didn't buzz at all, and it just knocked my socks off. That's huge. That's a small win. That feels good to proclaim that. It may inspire or motivate another guitar geek, and it actually helps you lock in your guitar routine. The things that make you feel good are the things that we want to keep doing. And if guitar makes you feel good, if you have fun with it, if you bring focus, it actually helps you progress. That feels good. You'll keep playing guitar, right? That's what the basis of a guitar routine is to have fun and focus on your goal so that you actually experience progress. So please, in the comments, put hashtag small win. And then go ahead and describe your small win. You could be trying a new set of strings for the first time, maybe changing your strings for the first time, playing a song start to finish, and you thought, holy smokes, I never thought I'd do that, but I finally did. Maybe you played at a virtual open mic for the first time. Maybe you just reached out to a Guitar Geek buddy to call and say, hey, how's it going, man? Haven't seen you, haven't been able to go to the jam because everything's closed. What's up? That's a small win as well. Go ahead and share those in the comments. Again, hashtag small win, and go ahead and describe it. I'll read those here in a little bit while I'm trying to find the winner of the guitar. But let me get into a couple questions here. There's a question that came in from Jake, and he says this: I have trouble singing while playing. Well, I'm sorry, I misread that. I have trouble singing while keeping any rhythm whatsoever. It's like my hand tries to match with the pace of the words. How can I disconnect the two rhythms? This is such an awesome question, Jake. I'm going to go through the process here, but if you really want to dig into a specific video, there's a video on the Acoustic Life channel that I made. It's on YouTube that is about singing and playing at the same time and steps that you can make to actually do it. I'll go through it here right now in a more condensed fashion, but it's something that I think you'll find extremely beneficial because, again, it's all about layering, and you literally summed up into words the most common pitfall of guitar geeks worldwide is it's like my hand tries to match with the pace of the words. And that's something that happens so much. So let me kind of share with you what I would recommend doing. I got to think of a song. Okay, so there's a song. You want to learn a song. Okay, you want to sing with the song. It's incredibly fun. Even if you say I'm not a singer, it doesn't matter. Singing and playing and accompanying yourself is really incredible, and I encourage everyone to try it. But follow this process. So there's a song that I really like to play and sing called Church Street Blues. I'm gonna play a little bit of it here right now in its full version, as long as provided I don't mess up. And then I'll kind of break it down, what's happening. So we're going to listen to the song in its full version, and then I'll break it down piece by piece to help facilitate you learning whatever song you want to learn, and do so in a way that's methodical and has you actually disconnecting from what you're singing. Okay, so the song, let's see. I've been hanging out uptown, Lord, in that low down rain, watching Good Time Charlie Friends, just driving me insane. So that's just the first part of the first verse. Pretty intricate. There's some cross picking happening, quite a few chord changes, and I will say this, I will fully admit, when I first learned, my first attempt at learning that song, playing it and singing at the same time, I did exactly what Jake summed up into words. My hand tried to match the pace of the words. As soon as my mouth opened, my strumming hand was like, what? Short circuit. I'm going to do whatever I want now. So to reverse engineer, I played for you what we want as the final product, but that's not where we start. I don't want you to start with a strumming pattern. I don't want you to start with anything that is signature to the song. Right? So any licks, any syncopated strumming pattern, set that aside for right now. What I want you to know is the chords that are happening and the lyrics that are happening over them. That's it. And I don't even want you to maintain strumming at this point in time, right? So if I was to do this with the Church Street Blues, actually, I misquoted that. Church Street Blues is a Norman Blake song. I might have attributed it to Tony Rice. That's not true. It's a Norman Blake song. Anyways, that feels good to get that off my conscience. So what we're doing is we're not looking at strumming. We're looking at chord information and lyrics. Those are the two things. And what I want you to do is strum the chord and then sing the lyrics that are over it. We're not maintaining strumming. It's just single strum. So it would sound like this. I've been hanging out uptown, Lord, in that low-down rain, watching Good Time Charlie Friends, just driving me insane. That in and of itself is difficult, but we've removed the element of sustained rhythm. Okay, so we can actually focus on singing the words, and the general tendency is for our pick, the strumming rhythm, to follow the pace of the words. Okay, so we've removed that. One single chord, sing the song. And I want you to do that through the whole thing, and you might have to do it for quite a while until it locks in. It's a skill that you're learning. It's not a switch that you're turning on. So it would be like this. I've been hanging out uptown, Lord, in that low-down rain, watching Good Time Charlie Friends, just driving me insane. Up on shady Charlotte Street, Lord, the green lights look red. Wish I was back home on the farm, Lord, in my feather bed. It sounds simple, and it sounds simplified from the final version. Remember the final version that I showed you at the beginning? We're not starting there. We're starting at a base foundation. Once that becomes comfortable, once you can do the single strum and sing along with it, how's the song go? I've been hanging out uptown, Lord, in that low-down rain. So we take our next step once that gets comfortable, but we're not jumping to the final version. We might maintain a more solid strumming pattern, something like this. Now, nothing intricate, just all 6 strings, just basic strumming, down strums. I've been hanging out uptown, Lord, in that low-down rain, watching Good Time Charlie Friends, just driving me insane. So we've upped the ante just a little bit. It's nothing intricate yet. We're just starting to add a sustained rhythm to it. A basic, solid rhythm that is not as tempting for our lyrics to follow, right? So a lot of times we get that short circuit. Well, once that steady down strum gets a little bit more easy to do, or you feel like you've got it and you can do it consistently, then you add the next layer. Maybe it's cross picking, maybe it's something a little bit more intricate. I've been hanging out uptown, Lord, in that low-down rain, watching Good Time Charlie Friends, just driving me insane. Up on shady Charlotte Street, the green lights glittering. Wish I was back home on the farm, holding my feather bed. So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, well, you went from basic downstrums to that. Well, there could be steps in the middle. Maybe you do a steady down and up strum. I've been hanging out uptown, holding that low down rain, watching Good Time Charlie friends just driving me insane. Right? So there's all sorts of layers, but we're starting with a single chord strum, singing through it until the next chord change. Once you get that, then you maintain a steady down strum. Once you get that, then you maintain steady down and up. Once you get that, you can further layer on the complexities so that then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I can sing with the song and play the guitar the way I want to. However, if you start there, a lot of times there's so many pitfalls that you can potentially run into. And I don't say that in a discouraging way. I just say that and set yourself up for success by layering the process. Okay. Great question, Jake. I really appreciate you asking that because it's a very common problem. And one of the things that I wanted to mention was that video on YouTube. I might have made it like 2 or so years ago, but it still stands. It's that process just done a little bit more slowly, and you can kind of follow along with it. All right. Well, I want to give a guitar away, and I'm trying to think of should I do the guitar giveaway first and then do the small wins? Or should I do the small wins and then... I'm going to do the small wins first. They're sitting here right in front of me. Why not? So a couple small wins from the Tack family. You know what? I'm going to divvy it up into 2 parts. I'm going to do some small wins now. I'm going to throw a dart, give away a guitar, and then I'll do some more small wins later. Win, win, win. Anyways... Small wins. Nolan says this morning I put down a deposit on an Emerald X10. Yikes. That's so awesome, Nolan. Congratulations. New guitar day in your future. Brian T says small win, logged in and did every challenge in November. That is so awesome. Good job, Brian. And way to really step up to the plate with a guitar routine during the holidays. It's tough. I mean, that's the whole subject of today's workshop. Norm M, small win, getting back to guitar after 40 years. Bought my new Washburn Comfort Koa and remembering more than I thought I would. Man, Norm, congratulations for jumping back in. It's hard for me not to go into detail on all of these, but I want to share this because it's getting back into guitar after having played it is almost twice as difficult than getting into guitar for the first time. And I'm going to parallel this with hockey because I took a 13-year break from playing hockey. I played hockey all through high school. I played juniors. I was like, that was my world, was hockey. And I just kind of got burnt out. It was maintaining a really busy season while trying to go to school, figure out what I was going to do with my life and all that classic, getting out of high school, college stuff. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. But I stopped playing hockey, and I stopped for about 13 years. And I remember it took me about 2 years to make the decision to play again because I was scared that I was going to have lost so much. I was scared that I was going to not be as good as I once was. I was scared that the equipment changed and I wouldn't know how to play. I was scared of the judgment from all the other players that had kept playing. But I failed to realize that hockey is ridiculously fun. And that's the whole point of playing in the first place. So when I started playing again after 13 years, I remember the first game. I got my butt kicked. I play goalie, by the way. So, when you get your butt kicked, it's like, oh, man. I got my butt kicked. I had the biggest smile on my face that I've ever had, maybe in my entire life. That's not true. I had a pretty big smile when Aiden was born, a pretty big smile when Emerson was born. I digress. I then realized that the fear piece was holding me back from so much fun, and the fun far outweighed the fear. And I see the same thing time after time. Norm, by saying, I got back into guitar after 40 years, and he says, I'm remembering more than I thought I would. And I think that is so profound, and you should be so happy with yourself, and you should be, just a huge congratulations for jumping back in, because it feels like this insurmountable task, because you're wondering if you'd be as good as you were. But you never know unless you jump in again. And think of all the fun that you might sacrifice by not jumping back in again. So great job, Norm. So pumped. I mean, my dad had a very similar experience. You know, I asked him about guitar, and he pulled it out of the crawl space after not having played for some time. And that me asking that question actually got him back into the guitar too. So many kind of feelings that come up for me when talking about that. So great job, Norm. I'm sorry I spent so long on that. I think that's pretty profound and very worthy of major celebration. Rex's small win. Rex owns the small win. I figured out that I have a lot more luck finding chords, especially bar chords, if I lift the neck up closer to my head and shoulder. I used to hold the guitar almost horizontal and have done so for years. So now I'm working to make the new holding style my new normal. That's a great way to adapt and figure out a way that would help you make bar chords more consistently. Let me get to. I'm going to stop the small wins right now. I'm going to give away a guitar. As I mentioned, behind me on the dartboard are the faces of every TAC member that finished every daily challenge in November. And I'm going to throw a dart. Whoever it lands on wins a Taylor GS Mini. Simple as that. I'm going to go throw a dart right now. I'm going to try and talk to you while I do this, but I'm going to get quieter because the mic's there and I'm headed over here. So here goes nothing. Oh, first try. This is an exciting day. All right. I have got the winner. I'm really excited about the new reverse retro jerseys that are coming to the NHL. I know that's not guitar related, but I'm excited. Some of them aren't great. I think the Hawks one's awesome. This isn't it. This is just an older kind of a throwback jersey, but anyways. It's really easy to get me talking about hockey. Real easy. Whitney let me order new skates, so that's pretty awesome. That's a small win for me. Let me see who the winner is of the Taylor GS Mini. Let me just go ahead and zoom down here. Ooh, all right. Let's see. What do we got here? It's going to load up. Let me read a couple more small wins while that loads. And it looks like let's go to Suzanne C's small win. She says, I can play Billy in the low ground without looking at the tabs. Proud of myself for sure. That's outstanding. Scott S says, I'm spending more time with the guitar, and TAC finally got me beyond wanting to revisit the trumpet. I haven't played in decades. I started some practicing. Thanks, TAC people. It's still an acoustic. Oh, I misread that. I'm sorry. Scott S., I'm spending more time with the guitar, and TAC finally got me beyond wanting to revisit the trumpet I haven't played in decades. I started some practicing. Thanks, TAC people. It's still an acoustic instrument. Cross says this, #small win. In the year of the COVID, never has been part of the TAC community been more important. It keeps me grounded and smiling. TAC is an island of normalcy in a world of chaos. So cool, Cross, and thanks for sharing that sentiment, And that just goes to show, hanging out with like-minded folks that really they want to see you succeed as a guitar geek just as much as you want to see them succeed is really important. And it can really help. It can really help fuel you towards your goal and really kind of put into perspective how important guitar playing is on a large scale. It is really a fun thing to do, and it is really fulfilling. I feel like I'm trying to sell guitar geeks on how fun guitar is, but so often guitar can slip into that obligatory category, and we have to be careful of that. We have to keep it fun because that's what keeps us coming back time and time again. Let me get on to the winner of the guitar. The winner of the guitar is Paula L. Paula L., everybody. Let's give her a round of applause. Congratulations, Paula L., for winning a Taylor GS Mini. The dart landed on your profile picture, and you will get a GS Mini shipped directly to your door. Congratulations to you. And really, like I said before, congratulations to everyone who completed all the daily challenges in November. Notoriously a busy month, but you did it. You committed to your routine, and I think that's pretty darn incredible and celebration worthy indeed. So with that being said, let me give you a couple dates to remember and a couple important things to keep in mind. There's a small one. I don't want it to go away. Hold on. Sherpa Dave says this, small win, in case you missed it earlier, I signed up to become a volunteer guitar instructor for Guitars for Vets after being inspired by your support of this group. That's so awesome, Sherpa Dave. Congratulations. That's a huge step, and in so many ways, teaching other folks is something I'm truly fond of. But being a part of the Guitars for Vets organization is just amplifies the reward so much, because it's a life-changing thing. Congratulations, man. That's so awesome. A couple more small wins I want to read. John S. says, small win, made a correlation between sharps and flats and feel comfortable in the musical alphabet. That is really awesome. When things start clicking and you start catching momentum like that, pretty fantastic. Okay. I could talk about small wins for the rest of the day, but I've actually drank a fair amount of coffee, so I've got to, I should take a break soon. Anyway, so a couple dates that I want you to be familiar with, or at least put on your calendar. There's going to be the final Fretboard Wizard wrap-up is going to be happening on December 16th. December 16th at 11 a.m. That's a Wednesday, just 2 weeks from now. We'll be wrapping up the Fretboard Wizard Challenge. You can please come with your questions. That really is going to be dedicated to what to do next with your newfound knowledge, but more importantly, I want to answer your questions there about the Fretboard Wizard program. Remember, the day prior is your deadline to get your Fretboard Wizard declaration in for for the drawing for a Waterloo guitar. Yes, if you submit a Fretboard Wizard declaration by December 15th, at 5 p.m., you will be entered into a drawing to win a Waterloo guitar shipped directly to your door from Eddie's Guitars in St. Louis. Pretty awesome stuff. And that follow-up Fretboard Wizard Live, December 16th at 11 a.m. is when I'll announce the winner and, of course, answer your questions. And then our next live is January 6th at 11 a.m. Our next guitar party, I should say, is January 6th at 11 a.m. And that's an important one. That's one you don't want to miss, because we'll be setting our 90-day guitar goal. So it's a great way to kick off 2021 with setting a goal. And more importantly, just aside from the goal setting, you'll get to understand what goes into setting a goal that is achievable, and also making a plan for when things don't go as planned. And that's just as important as setting a goal. In fact, making that kind of if blank hits the fan plan actually helps you and increases your chances of achieving the goal by, I want to say, something like 60% or something like that. Pretty crazy stuff. Nonetheless, that's going to happen on January 6th at 11 a.m. Keep your eyes peeled for emails regarding that. You'll be getting some materials to follow along, some worksheets and things like that to go through with me as we set our goals for the first quarter of 2021. Pretty exciting stuff. I want to thank everyone for sharing your time with me today. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to spend with me here and just celebrate progress. And really celebrate progress, the fun we have with the guitar, and really kind of cheer each other on. This is a great time to not only get your questions answered, but just kind of have fun with your fellow guitar geeks and celebrate this journey that we're all on. We're each at a different point, and it's pretty exciting to see all these different points and cheer each other on, like I said before. So thanks so much for sharing your time with me today. Thank you so much for being a guitar geek. And for those of you, everybody, this is the holiday month. Have whatever you're celebrating, have a happy one, have a merry one, whatever the case may be. Just know that all of us here at TAC HQ wish you the best holidays, and can't wait to see you, I guess, next year. I can say that now. I can't wait to see you next year, January 6th at 11 a.m. for that goal-setting workshop. That'll be a fun one. Make sure to show up January 6th, 11 a.m. I repeated that a couple times because I think it's that important. Anyways, have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the month. Hang on to your routine even during these crazy times, and I'll see you January